Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. And what we have this time is a Sujihiki or slicer. This is the Kanehide Ps60 Sujihiki 270mm knife. The core steel is something that they worked up and took a fairly standardized steel and did some cryogenic treatment to it to increase the edge retention and also ability to go a little bit harder. So they called it Pure Steel 60. The 60 is for the Rockwell rating on it, approximately 60 to 61. And it's a full stainless steel. The construction of this knife is mono steel, so there's no cladding or layers. It's all the same material. The Kanehide offers a TK steel, which is semi-stainless, and then this Ps60, which is fully stainless. The Ps60 trades off a little bit of ease of sharpening for better edge retention and vice versa. So it's still really nice to sharpen, but you get increased edge retention, which is pretty reasonably good, actually, over the TK. The weight on this knife is about 184 grams or 6.5 ounces. Edge length was right on the money at 270 from the chin, the back of the heel, all the way to the tip, or about 10.6 inches. And the overall length about 390 millimeters or a little over 15 inches. These are pretty thin blades, and you have about a 2mm spine thickness, and pretty much just holds that most of the way through. Thins up, starts thinning up a little bit in the forward third of the blade, and then thins up pretty skinny at the very tip where the grind is. The height on this is about 41 millimeters at the back of the blade, and the handle is a stabilized wood, resin-impregnated stabilized wood with a rosewood style color on it. The fit and finish on these is usually always really nicely done. There's a slight ding on this one in the spine or in the full tang, but it's still polished. But anyway, in terms of smoothness and everything, it's great. Rivets, bolsters, really nice fit and finish on these. This had a nice edge on it, about a 6 out of 10. Balance point is, they usually put pretty good edges on these. Balance point is right about there, which is pretty close to a pinch grip for me, so kind of nimble. Let's take a close-up look. So this particular blade, I should say in this line in general, they have kind of a etched or screened on etched kanji and logo. And you can see the machine finish on these. They do just a nice job in general polishing the spine, polishing the back of the blade, called the choil. They usually will thin these out a little bit on the right side of the blade, so you'll normally see a bit of a polished area that isn't necessarily the actual edge bevel. It kind of looks like an edge bevel, but it's not. So they just kind of polish that down and thin it out to the edge, and then there's an additional actual edge bevel on top of that. The left side of the blade doesn't have that thinned area. So the grind on these is pretty much 50-50 in general from the spine down to the edge. The edge itself is about 30% on the left and about 70% on the right in terms of how big the bevel width is. So I'm going to call that a 30-70, 30 left, 70 right. So the right side bevel is about twice as thick or wide as the left side bevel, just to let you know. If you're a lefty, it really shouldn't affect your steering much at all, which I'm a lefty. Here's your spine. And you can see it thins up real nice towards the tip. The blade is fairly stiff. It's got a little bit of flex to it. It's not going to be as stiff as something like a, Masakage Koishi or something that's got a really heavy spine. So it's got a little bit of thinness to it. So if you like a Suji that's got a bit of give to it for a variety of things, maybe skinning salmon or something like this might be a good option for you. Depends on what style of Suji you like. Again, just really nice fit and finish on these. Let's take a look on our cutting board, because some people like to use these in a pinch for various duties in the kitchen. So here's your profile on the board, which is just gentle profile, flat towards the back, maybe third of the blade or so, almost half the blade, and then I can still get pretty high on this and rock it. So this would do some pretty nice board work if it's something you need. So just a typical well-executed design, grind, fit and finish, edge as of this whole line. So here you have a really nice Suji option. This is the Kanehide Ps60 Sujihiki 270mm knife.